Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, before I even get into this video, I just have to tell you guys, it's either going to be real long or real short because my eyes are so sensitive to the light right now. Let me tell you what happened. So, as you guys know, in the past, I was not good about taking my contacts out. I would sleep in my contacts for like weeks on end. I've been better about that in the last like year or two. And so I usually take them out. Sometimes I sleep in them, but not very often. So I changed my contacts. I feel like it was like a week and a half ago I changed them. I usually like have a pair for like 2 weeks. They're disposables, AccuView, Oasis. I will use a pair for like 2 weeks and then get a new pair, right? So I changed these like a week and a half ago. And even when I like change my pair of contacts, usually like the light is like really hurting my eyes. I was talking to my neighbor. He came over earlier and he was sitting in a chair, and I was like, okay, that chair's wet from the plant. He's like, it doesn't feel like it's wet at all. And then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, it just hit me. The chair is like soaking up from the bottom. But I had my hat like down real low because like the light was like bothering me. But even when I like change my contacts, usually like they don't feel dry or anything like that, right? Like I'm just like, okay, it's time to change the contacts. Well, last night I was watching Under the Bridge on Max, and after I got done vlogging and stuff like that, I watched Under the Bridge, and I was like on the second episode of me. I watched. So I finished the second episode. So I watched 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I watched 4 episodes last night. I mean, it got so bad. I finally was like, I've got to take my contacts out and go to bed because I was like, my eye. It was this eye, and this eye was hurting so bad. So I took my contacts out, threw them away. Usually when I do that, like within an hour of like being asleep, my eyes feel better. Like they immediately pretty much feel better. So I took my contacts out and got into bed and fell asleep, and I woke up like an hour later and my eye was like hurting. It was hurting worse than before I took the contacts out. And it's not like super red or anything. There's like, I had Alex look at it. There's nothing really wrong with it. I mean, I don't think like I have a sty or I don't think I have like pink eye or anything like that. It's not anything like that. I don't know. I think it's from the contacts, but it is still hurting me today, and it's so strange, like, that something like, just like your eye, like, hurting you can, like, drive you crazy, but, like, today, it's just like, I'm like, ah. I made some videos in the bedroom, which was better because, you know, it's like the light in there is kind of like, it's not super bright and whatever. So anyway, I took the contacts out, went to bed, woke up like an hour later, and my eye was still hurting, and it was, like, watering. And so I went into the bathroom, and I put like, you know, like water on it and whatever. And then I came back to bed, felt a little bit better. Alex got up to go to Pride Day today. He was taking an Uber down there to his friend's house, and they were all going down there from his friend's house. And so he kissed me goodbye, and like when I woke up, when he kissed me goodbye, my eye was like, it hurt so much more. So I woke up today about 11:30, and I mean, my eye, it felt like so much worse than it did last night. I put re-wetting drops in it. I didn't put contacts in right away. But sometimes, I know this will sound strange, I just made some iced coffee and put some of that banana syrup in it. But sometimes when I put contacts back in my eyes, like if I wear glasses for a while, which is usually what I do if my eyes hurt, like I'll wear glasses, and then when I decide to make videos, I'll put contacts on so I can use my reading glasses. So if you don't know, like, if you wear glasses or contacts, like, I've in the past had to put my glasses on and put my reading glasses over it. So if you don't have your contacts in, like, reading glasses don't really work. You have to have, like, your contacts in to use reading. I know it's not, if you wear contacts, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm nearsighted, so you'll know what I'm talking about. So anyway, usually I'll, like, wear my glasses for a couple hours and put my contacts in. And usually when I put my contacts in, it kind of, I don't know why, but it, like, refreshes my eyes and it makes my eyes feel better. But today, it didn't do that. Today, it was like, it kept on hurting, and it's like, I don't know how to explain it, it's like sore. Like, my eye is like sore. It's like I got punched or something, and, like at first, last night, I thought, is there something, like, my contact ripped? I looked at my contact when I took them out, it hadn't ripped. There was nothing wrong with the contact. It just, like, started hurting all of a sudden. It was, like, out of nowhere. It was like I was watching a show, and then all of a sudden, my eye just started hurting. I don't know what it was. There was nothing behind the contact. Sometimes there's, like, it can be, like, a little piece of dirt. It usually works itself out. There was nothing behind my contact. There was nothing in my eye. I looked. I don't know what it is, but my eye is, like, so sore tonight. I don't know if it's maybe how I slept. I slept on my stomach last night, And I haven't been sleeping in my stomach that much lately. Every once in a while I still sleep in my stomach, but not as much as I used to. So I don't know if that's what did it, and was like, I was like pushed down into the, well, not because it started hurting last night. Well, maybe that's why it continued to hurt today. I don't know. But like last night, I have no idea what happened. I literally have no idea what happened. It just like out of nowhere, I was like watching a show and I was just like, oh my God, my eye is sore. So that's been kind of today. I like woke up and was not in the greatest of mood because my eye was hurting and it still is so sore. Alex got home from Pride Day about an hour ago. He looked so cute. He had on like these shorts, and he had this RuPaul shirt that he got at Abercrombie. It's like a sleeveless. It's like this, these graphic tees. It looks almost exactly like this t-shirt material, but it's like sleeveless, and it has like a picture of RuPaul, and it says RuPaul on it. So they went to brunch, and then after brunch, he said it was 13 of them. After brunch, they went down to this bar called Teeny's in downtown Indianapolis, and they hung out there, and then he, like they were all leaving, so he took an Uber home. And so he had all his glitter and stuff on him, and he like came in to kiss me. I was like, okay, I don't want glitter all over my face, because if I get it in my beard, I won't be able to get it out. He started laughing. So he sat out here with me. I was waiting for my videos to upload. I had just talked to my neighbor, and so he was telling me about Pride Day and stuff, and then he was like, I'm gonna go take a shower. So he's upstairs right now resting. Just got out of the shower. He's upstairs resting with Boo Radley. And then, I don't know if he's gonna take a nap or something. We might watch. Tonight might be the night of Damsel. Tonight might be the night of the movie Damsel. We'll see. Depends. So, so yeah, and so when he was gone today, I've been like so sensitive to the sunlight. It is beautiful. So you guys want to know the time and the day? Okay. So the time currently is 4:51 p.m. And I just looked up the weather on the computer and it said 78 degrees. So let's see what it says when I pull up the weather app. Oh, it says 81 and partly cloudy. That's interesting. So I think that when I get done with the vlog, I am going to text my neighbor and see if she wants to go up to the pool for a little bit. There's nobody at the pool. I went out to get the mail, and I was like, I walked over across the street. There's like not one person at the pool, which is kind of crazy today. But that's kind of how it's been the last couple summers. I mean, every couple weekends it'll be real crowded. But there was, or maybe it was the summer that I started going up there a lot. There would be like, during the week, there'd be a lot of people, but on the weekends, it was like a lot of people went to their lake houses or something. There weren't a lot of people. I think last summer it was a little bit more crowded on the weekend. I don't remember, but there was one summer where on the weekends there was like nobody there. I think I even talked about that on here. So I'm thinking about going to the pool for a little bit. He'll probably nap for the next 2 or 3 hours, and then we'll get up and watch TV or something. So yeah, and then yesterday, since I didn't film, like the sun like goes behind the clouds, and when it goes behind the clouds, I'm good, but then now it's like, you guys want to see how bright it is? Here, I'll show you. You can see on my side of my house, just even me looking at the camera, it's like, I'm trying to like, look at all that sunlight. It's such a pretty day outside. So, I was talking to my neighbors because we sprayed the hell out of this before we laid the mulch for the, or I was talking to my neighbor. Well, he came over and talked to me, and then she came home from working at her friend's house. She has a garden over there, a vegetable garden. And I said, oh, did you have fun at your friend's garden's house? And she goes, it's my garden. I keep it at my friend's house. I go, because she's got all this land over there. So it's her vegetable garden that she keeps at her friend's house. So she was telling me all about that. That's why I went and got the mail. But anyway, I was telling her, I was like, I cannot believe we sprayed all these weeds, and now weeds are coming up through the mulch at the very end, just at the very end. And she's like, well, you just have to keep on picking them and like spray it, and like over time, like the weeds will die. So there's a few weeds coming. It's not bad, but a few weeds are coming up down there at the end. She's like, but don't pull them, and she's like, don't pull them today and spray them because it's real windy, and then you'll get them on your hostas. So she was like, I said, well, I think I'm going to wait until like it rains and then the next day pull them because it'll be easier and I can get more of the root. And she's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So anyway, I posted my drama video today. And then because Alex was gone, I was like, I'm going to film a couple videos. I actually, like by the time I was on my second video, he had texted me and he was like, I'm in the Uber on my way home. And I was like, okay. So, I filmed a haul because I had a bunch of stuff that was like in the kitchen that I wanted to show on video. And then I filmed a Peterisms video that somebody asked me to make. And all the videos were kind of long. Like my haul was like 27 minutes. My Peterisms video was like 25 minutes. And then I did a review of hacks on Macs. And it was like 19 minutes long. They were all like kind of long videos today, which was crazy. So anyway, I got those 3 videos done. Those are all, well, the haul is up. The Peter Watches TV video is up. The Peterisms video is uploading. The drama video is posted. And now I'm just vlogging. I posted my vlog last night. I uploaded it on my phone Okay, so this was so weird last night. So the video ended up being, I thought I was going to only vlog for like a half an hour. It ended up being like an hour and 16 minutes. I couldn't even believe it. So I uploaded it, or I rendered it last night, and I was like doing other stuff. I was like cleaning up the kitchen. I was like getting ready to watch my show and whatever. And then I was going to upload it to my phone because it's usually quicker when I upload it to my phone. And so I went back over to the computer because I thought, well, it's got to be done now, right? And it said, because I always render my stuff in iMovie, and it said something about failed. And I was like, because it was taking forever because it was so long. And I was like, oh my God, like, what is going on? Like, what do you mean it failed? So I had to go do it all again because there was just like not enough space on the computer because my computer doesn't have a lot of memory. And so I've used like, you know, external memory thing, which I don't usually really use very often. And so I like had to delete a bunch of stuff, and then I went back in there and I reprocessed it again. That took another half an hour, and then I uploaded it on my phone, and then that was actually pretty quick. And so I think I got it up at like 1:30 or something like that, the vlog last night. I'm kind of surprised that as many people have watched it as they have, because I posted it so late last night. Like the vlog is sitting at, let's see. Yeah, it's at like 2.3 thousand views. And I posted it at like 1:30 in the morning. It'll tell you, like, it ranks your videos, like, top, like, 1 through 10. This is, like, my third most viewed video in the last 28 days, which is kind of crazy. The video that I did about Stevie Nicks, oh, that's number 2. What's my number 1 video? No. How can they both be number 3? What's my number 1 video? That's 2. Why can't I find my number 1 video in here? Oh, it's called Responding to Comments. I think it was when I just read comments on here. I don't even remember. Maybe I'll title this video that again today. Should I read some comments? Well, let's talk about what I did last night. So anyway, so last night when I was like doing all that, I got online. Okay, this is such a trap. Like, I sit online and I have like certain things I need to get. Like, I needed to get deodorant, so I bought the same degree spray deodorant that I usually buy, but I bought different scents, which I usually call flavors. I bought like icy mint, and then another one like lavender and something. I wanted to try some different ones. And then in case I don't like those, I bought, Alex doesn't care. He's like, just whatever scent. And so then I bought a third one. And then I bought a Gillette spray deodorant. And it's just like fresh, it's called like Fresh Scent or something like that. I thought, let's try something different and see if maybe I like it more. Because if I try something different, maybe I'll like it. So I got that. And then I bought vitamins. They already came today. I showed those in my haul. And then I bought, something else I bought. I was on Amazon like twice. Bought it like 2 or 3 times. Amazon is such a trap for me. Like when I go on there late at night and I start looking at stuff. Because, you know, each thing is like not super expensive. It's like $7. It's like me going to Meijer back in the day. It like adds up, right? So what was the other thing I bought? Oh, there was like this deodorant. It's like all over. It's Old Spice. Vanilla something. It's called Gentle Man or something. And it's like an all over body deodorant. I thought I could use it for the pool. Like when I get out of the pool, spray it all over. And it's like vanilla scent. So I got that. I got 1 bottle of that to try. The other ones I got like 3 of each. So anyway, then I needed to buy, I'm like at the very bottom, and I've been at the very bottom for a very long time of my Creed, my Aventus Creed, or Creed Aventus. So I had the gift card from Saks. I don't know if I said this or not, but like when Caroline and I went to the mall the other day because I was buying Alex some presents for his birthday, I walked through Saks. She like went down to the other end, and then I met her down there. And I walked through Saks. So our Saks in Indianapolis is closing, like for good. And I walked in, and it's like 50% off signs everywhere. Like they had no cologne. They had like no makeup. Like their makeup and cologne counter is like gone. I said to the girl, I was like, do you guys still have Creed Aventus? Because that's why I went there originally to buy. And she was like, we have samples that we're selling. I was like, you don't have full bottles? She's like, well, we can order it for you online. I was like, no, I can do that. So she was real sweet. But anyway, I saw the lady that works at Chanel that I really, really like. And I said to her, because we had talked, and she was like wanting to do some other stuff. And so, she would actually really be good for this like store that my friend opened. And so I thought about her last night, because when I walked through there, I said, you guys are like closed. She's like, yeah, July, like we're done. And I was like, it's like dead in here. Like there was nothing in Saks. I couldn't believe it. But the Chanel section was completely full, but they're like separate. I think they run it out. And I was like, do you know where you're going, like after it's closed? And she was like, no, you were gonna help me get a job. Remember we talked about it when she started laughing. She's like, I know. She was like, but I said to her, like, if like I know a couple people that I could like connect you with. And so I said, hey, listen. I said, reach out to me. I said, I've got a couple people, and I was thinking about her last night because she's so like, I love this woman. She's so nice. She's like a makeup artist too. She did like Melissa and like 2 of her friends hair and makeup for Rev when we went this year. She's really, really nice. I really like this woman. So anyway, she would actually be great starting her own business and just doing like hair and makeup, and then doing like being a personal shopper. In Indianapolis, personal shoppers do better than you would think they would. But anyway, so like Saks is, so I couldn't order my Creed Aventus or couldn't get it at Saks. So I had that $100 gift card from Saks that I wanted to use, and I was waiting until I was almost out of this. I'm like down to like the very, very bottom drops. I'm like, I was like, I didn't really make this bottle last that long. I've been wearing it more than I've been wearing my other colognes, which I usually like use like Chanel Blue, yeah, daily, or like the Louis Vuitton ones. I really like those. Alex and I share those. And so I haven't been wearing those as much. The one I have to tell you, this is so funny. I got it at Sephora years ago. It's called By the Fireplace or Fireside or something. I have gotten, I don't wear it very often. I bought it because it kind of smells like marshmallows a little bit, or it smells like a fireplace. I got it for like the fall and the winter, but I've recently been wearing it more, and like I get compliments. It's Maison Margiela. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Here, I'll pull it up for you. You can get this at Sephora. You can get it at other places. This one, do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's called, what is it called on here? It says it's $69, $68, $66, $69.90 By the Fireplace. Sephora, $85. By the Fireplace. By Maison does anybody know how to pronounce that? Margiela. Anyway, they have a bunch of them. They have one that's called like Jazz Club that I really like. I think I might get more of those, or try another one at least, because I have worn that and I've gotten so many compliments on it. And it's so funny because when I wore it, I like it because it smells like very fall and winter, but like when I first wore it, I didn't wear it out a lot. Because Alex and I went out to dinner, you know, but like, even he has been like, I really like that cologne you have on. I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny. Maybe it's because I'm wearing it in the spring or summertime, you know, instead of the fall. So anyway, last night I got online and I ordered the Creed Aventus. And then I was like, thinking about like books. I was like, different books that I like want to read this summer and whatever. And I was thinking about these 2 books that I loved back in the day at different periods of my life. I'm going to share the story for when they come. And I was like, but these are 2 books I've like looked for forever, and I could never remember the titles of them, but I remember kind of like at least one word in the title or what they were about. And so like I Google searched up and I found them immediately, both of them. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited about this. So I bought both of them on Amazon, and then they recommended other books, and so I started looking at other books from there. So I ended up buying like 5 books on Amazon. So yeah, those books, I'll do a haul over when they come and explain kind of the backstory of those, because like one of the books, like I feel like I don't think I've read it since I was on BookTube. I think I read it before that, but it really, like, both of the books like really like kind of impacted me when I read them. I remember like I can see myself getting one from the library, and I remember I can see myself at the library, the library that I used to go to, I can see myself pulling it out. And it was like a small little book. I think I bought the paperback, not the hardback though. And then the other book takes place in Indiana, and I can remember when I read it, it's like a summer book and stuff like that. So anyway, and then I bought a bunch of other books that looked good. And so I'm excited about coming that. Well, then my vlog was done, and then I started uploading it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this show. So that's when I started, and I made a cup of coffee, and I started watching Under the Bridge. That show, you guys, is so good. I comment when I talked about it in my vlog the other day, so many people were like, it's really sad. It is really sad, but most thrillers that I watch, there's an element of sad. I mean, like Lincoln Lawyer, there's some sadness in it, but I mean, this is like it's like dark. It's sad. It's about this woman that comes back to Victoria. It is Victoria, Canada. They say Canada in there. She comes back to Victoria, Canada, which I guess is like an island, and she grew up there. Caroline said that it's like the women are from like her age, like they're like when she was in high school, and it takes place in 1997. I'm like, Caroline graduated in 87, what she's talking about. But the two women, like one's a police officer and the other one's like was like her girlfriend or whatever, and she's a writer and she comes back from New York. She hasn't been there for 10 years, so that means they would have graduated from high school in 87. So Caroline's right, like they are her age. So anyway, she comes back, and then there's this group home in town, and it's called Seven Oaks, and it's kind of like all these girls are real wild, and they like smoke cigarettes in this group home and stuff like that. I've never seen a group home like this before, but anyway, they like doing all kinds, drinking in the group home and all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, I know crazy stuff happens in group homes, but this group home is like apparently it's based on a true story. I need to look this up. By Rachel somebody. Under the Bridge, true story. Under the Bridge. Under the Bridge. Yeah. True story. So, okay. The actual true story behind Hulu's Under the Bridge series. What is the story of Under the Bridge? Well, these are all characters in the book. Oh no, are they use real names? Oh, I don't want to see what happens. It's saying where they're at now. I guess some of these characters are real in the books. It's saying these real names. This Kelly Ellard and this Warren guy and Verk. So it's about this girl, and she's Indian. And that plays a lot into it because it has a lot to do with like racism in the show. And so like her parents are like second generation immigrants, and it shows like it goes back and tells the story like how they moved here from India and they met and all this kind of stuff, and then they're Jehovah's Witnesses, and that plays a huge part into it too. And so she feels like she isn't really like, nobody like really likes her, and so she gets in this like group of like these troubled girls, but they're not even really that nice to her except for this one girl that's nice, and but they're really kind of like mean to her and all this kind of stuff. And so anyway, she ends up dying. Like, she gets murdered. And so it's the investigation of trying to find out how she's murdered, but at the same time that, like, this woman is a police investigator that's trying to figure out the crime, and, like, her dad and her brother are also police officers. Like, her dad is a police chief, and so she has to constantly answer to them, but she wants to go to, like, major crimes unit in, like, a different town. Everybody wants to get out of this town. And so her old girlfriend or friend or whatever who had a tragedy in her own family, she comes and she's writing a book about the troubled girls of Victoria, Canada. But she walks right into it at the time this murder occurs. So then it's about her, like, befriending these girls, that's kind of, it's just a lot. So anyway, and then there's this, like, main girl, and her name is Josephine, and she wants to, like, go and work for John Gotti in New York City. And so she's like, I'll tell you everything, but, like, you have to take me to New York with you. The woman's like, no, but, and so anyway, it's like all this information that kind of unloads. It's really the story of these girls, the story of the girl that's murdered, and, like, the history of her family and things like that. And it's just really, it is a sad show, but it's a fantastic thriller at the same time. Like, it unfolds over, like, you get really into the mystery, and then they go into the history of the family. That's the only thing. It's like, I enjoy that because it's, like, so deep with, like, the character development and stuff, but at the same time, it's like, I really am, like, into the thriller part of the show. The family stuff is really interesting, but it's like, I wish I would have done it earlier on in the early seasons, but if they had, or early episodes, but if they had, I don't know that I would have stuck around and watched it. Like, they don't start talking about, like, the background history until, like, the 4th or 5th episode. And then by that point, you're, like, hooked, so you watch it. But I will say this, they kind of weave the history of, like, the families, and they go back and show the other girl's family, too, and the tragedy that happens in her family. They weave kind of, like, those stories in with what's going on with the mystery and the murder and the development of the murder. It's a crazy story. I'm kind of surprised I've never heard of this before, because it really kind of reminds me a little bit of the Kitty Genovese book about the woman in New York City. There's my neighbor. She just left. She'll be back in a second. She's always just running up to the store. She didn't look dressed up or anything. She got her hair up in a half-center ponytail. But where there's, like, all these people that, like, are around watching this crime occur, and nobody does anything. And so are they all complicit in it? And this story, many of them are complicit in it. It's an interesting story how it goes on, but I'm kind of surprised I've never heard this story before. The girl's name is Rena Burke that was murdered in it. It's really sad. The whole story is really, really sad. But it's a fantastic show. I mean, it's really, like, deep show. Deep show. It's not just, like, one of these, like, thrillers that you watch, you know, that's like, okay, that was a good thriller, but it's not like a Harlan Coben or something like that. I mean, it's deep. There's, like, a deep storyline to it. And it's very well done. So, anyway, and it deals a lot with, like, racism, homophobia, like, women's rights, things like that. And it all takes place in 97, so it's interesting. The music in there is fantastic. A lot of the two main characters, like, they're from, like, they graduated in the 80s, so they play a lot of, like, Susie and the Banshees, the Passenger. There's a whole scene where they're in a bar and they're, like, dancing to the song The Passenger by Susie and the Banshees, which is, like, one of my favorite songs. I actually think I was just listening to it on iTunes. Hold on a second. Yeah, I did. I had it pulled up right here. But there was this Placebo song in it that I completely forgot about that I bought. Here's all my newest buys on here. So, you know what song I did not have in my iTunes? You guys are gonna die. Do you know what song I did not have in my iTunes that I bought the other night? I did not have Gold Dust Woman. Can you believe that? I did not have that. Or if I do, I bought the live version of it. This is the Rumors album, deluxe edition. I bought the live version of Rumors. So I bought the song Every You, Every Me by Placebo. It's when they're at the school dance. They play that. And then I bought, the other day I was watching, this is when I was watching Bodkin, and they're in a bar, and they play I'm a Ramblin' Man by Waylon Jennings. My dad used to love Waylon Jennings back in the day. And then I bought Round Midnight by John Coltrane. They listen to a lot of jazz in Bodkin. That show was good. And then I bought In a Sentimental Mood by Duke Ellington and John Coltrane. That's my favorite John Coltrane song of life, In a Sentimental Mood. So when I first got sober back in the day, I used to listen to, I would get up on Sunday mornings, and there was a 9 o'clock meeting that I used to go to that was called the Breakfast Club meeting. They always had donuts there. And so when I got sober, I used to always go to that 9 o'clock meeting. It was a speaker meeting, so somebody would share their story and whatever. And so I would go to that speaker meeting, have a donut, a cup of coffee, and then I would come home. And when I came home, there was like a show on, it was like, I think it was on like NPR or something. It was called like Sunday Morning Jazz or something. It was like 2 hours. And so I would listen to it. I've like loved jazz forever, which is so interesting because my mom did, but she wasn't a huge jazz fan. My dad does, but is not a huge jazz fan. But like, I am such a huge jazz fan. I have so much of it, jazz and blues, so much of it like downloaded in my phone. And so I can remember that they would highlight an artist, and I would make a pot of coffee, and I would sit there and I would read through my meditation books while I was listening to jazz, and I would read some of the basic text and all that kind of stuff, and I just felt very centered for the day and things like that. And that's like what I would do on my Sundays after I got back from the meeting when I got sober, and I would listen to this Sunday morning jazz. It was like, I think it was like 2 or 3 hours maybe, and it was on like NPR. And so I would listen to it. Well, they had the whole show, one episode that was all about John Coltrane, and I became this like huge John Coltrane fan. And like In a Sentimental Mood is, if you've never heard it, like look it up on YouTube. It's fantastic. It's so great. My favorite piece of classical music, Appalachian Spring by Aaron Copland. So then I also bought, because I was looking up, they play the song where, I think I was just talking about this in a vlog the other day, wasn't I? Where's All the Time Gone by Judy Collins, but they were playing a different version of it. They're playing the, who is it? It's Sandy Denny, who is part of the Fairport Convention. And when you listen to Judy Collins do the live version of it at like Wolf Creek or something like that, she says in there that she can remember when her producer brought her to the song at the Chateau Marmont. I was just talking about this in here, and so I downloaded those songs. And I downloaded Nina Simone doing Who Knows Where the Time Goes. I love Nina Simone so much. And then I bought Nina Simone, I Shall Be Released, then Teen Witch, songs from Waiting to Exhale. And then, this New Kids on the Block song that Melissa was playing for me it's called Kids. It's like their newest one. It's about like growing up and still being a kid inside. That was like, the song was Magic that she did her music video to. What was this? 20th Century Artists. Stagger Lee, okay, by Lloyd Price. So somebody mentioned to me that we should do the movie Shag. I love the movie Shag with Bridget Fonda. It is so good. It's one of my favorite movies of life. They were like, you should do Shag for the movie club. Well, Shag's not on Tubi. I don't think you can watch Shag anywhere, actually. Movie Shag. So shag, I know what it means in like the UK, but shag is, it says already watched. Oh no, it says you can check it to watch it. Where can you watch it? You can buy the DVD on Amazon. No, thank you. Movie shag watch. So I'm sitting there going on and on and on about, there's nowhere to watch it. You can buy the DVD, and like the camera had stopped. So anyway, there's nowhere to watch it. But if you've never seen the movie Shag, here, I'll read you the description. What year did it come out? I'll be interested to know. Oh, 1989, so I was a senior in high school. Before adulthood takes hold, 4 teenage girls spirit away to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for a final vacation together, and all of them have their issues. Carson, played by Phoebe Cates, is marrying a boy who might not be right for her. She's like real, like beautiful and popular. Milena, played by Bridget Fonda, she's like the wild one, obsesses over her Hollywood dreams. Pudge, played by Annabeth Gish, I love her so much. She's like the one I identified with in the show. Has self-esteem problems, and Luann, played by Paige Hanna, hilarious, so funny, has a hard time letting loose. But as the trip continues, because it's her house that they go stay at. I don't know how I remember this movie so well. Has a hard time letting loose, but as the trip continues, the 4 grow closer together and help each other start to figure things out. So the character, so my friend and I, when we were in high school, I was friends with these 2 twins, and like my sophomore year, I was really good friends with the one twin, and then she like got a boyfriend, like became different. But anyway, the last 2 years, my junior and senior year, I was really good friends with, like, best friends with the other twin. She and I watched that movie, and I can remember because Pudge in the movie gets like a crush on this guy, and there's this dance contest to do the shag, and it's to the song Stagger Lee, okay? And so they're practicing constantly this dance called the shag, and it's like through the whole movie, this couple is doing it, but they think they're just friends, but like they fall in love over time. And so my friend and I, she and I watched this movie whenever it came out. We must have seen it like right away. And maybe it was that spring or something. I can remember us like trying to like learn this dance and stuff like that. I love that movie Shag so much. I don't know why I was talking about that. I was talking about the songs that I downloaded. Should we go back to my iTunes and see other songs I downloaded? You guys are like, well, we could care less. Other people would be like, no, this is the stuff that I'm really interested in. Okay, okay, so I was watching, what is it called? Okay, I used to love the band Bright Eyes with Conor Oberst. I used to love them so much. Very emo. Do you remember they were like one of the first bands that people called like emo back in the day? I loved them, okay? So I was watching The Walking Dead, and it's the scene when Carl dies. And they do this like whole flashback of Carl. And at that time, they played this song, and I was like, oh my god, I love this song. It sounds like Bright Eyes. Like, I don't know this song, and the song is called I'm Wide Awake, It's Morning. And so the video is fantastic. It's like got like famous people in it. I can't remember who's in it, but anyway, it's about this woman, and she's like sitting on a plane. The whole first part of it is talking, and she's like talking to this guy, and the plane starts going down, and he's like, we're going to a party. It's your birthday party. And I love this song. Like, when I listen to this song, you guys, like, I'm, like, getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. It's so good. So, I was, like, watching these Bright Eyes videos on YouTube because I had, like, totally forgot about them. They're probably problematic, and I have no clue. But anyway, today. But then I downloaded You Are the Mother's Child. I love that song so much. Okay. And then I got, this is when I was watching Jackie Brown's Street Life. I have so many versions of that. And then I downloaded Catch the Wind, 2 versions of it by Donovan. I loved that song back in the day. These are all from watching TV shows. I don't remember what that was in, but I watched that. And then I downloaded Come to My Window by Melissa Etheridge because I'd watched Welcome Home Roxy Carmichael, and Don't Look at Me by Melissa Etheridge isn't there. I couldn't find a version of it to buy, so I ended up buying that instead. And then I bought Twist and Shout by the Beatles because I was thinking to my mom one night about that. And then this is when we were at Ultra, and I bought all these songs I didn't have by Calvin Harris, songs that he had played, Swedish House Mafia, Martin Garrix, David Guetta, Thelma Houston, Don't Leave Me This Way. I bought a different version of it. They played that, a mix of that at Ultra Music Festival. It's fantastic. And then, what is this song from The Greatest Showman? A Million Dreams. Where did I hear that? I saw it in a drag pageant. That's where I saw it. Maybe. A James Blunt song? I don't remember downloading this. Oh, Monsters. Oh, they did a mix of that. Because here's the mix right here. Monsters by James Blunt. It was a mix. they played at Ultra Music Festival. You know what? Some of these songs must have been in something that I was watching while I was there. Okay, this guy. So I was watching. This was when I was sitting out here actually that night. I talked about this on here. I was watching the best like auditions of like Britain's Favorite Singer or whatever that show is with Simon Cowell, and there was this guy and his name was Callum Scott. Have you guys heard of this guy? And on the show he does an acoustic version of Dancing on My Own. I love that song anyway. And so I was like, oh my god, like I've heard this before and I forgot about it, and it was in like some show or something like that. And so I downloaded it. His sister auditioned too, but she didn't make it. And then he has another song with Leona Lewis called You Are the Reason, and I love both those songs. He is like, I love him so much. His voice is like, oh my god. Callum Scott, if you guys like love acoustic versions of songs, you know that song, Dancing on My Own? Robin is the one that sings that song. I love that song. So yeah. So that's been my life. How's your life doing? Should we go in here and read some comments? Let's read some comments from people. Oh, Kelly, she said, great. So many people commented on the thumbnail last night. I mean, like, that was actually, I wasn't kicking. I was showing my shit if you watch the thumbnail. But anyway, Kelly said, great thumbnail, Peter. I love to kick. I'm 50 and I like to kick. Okay, somebody said, if your name doesn't say like Judy or Kelly or Sam or Stu or whoever, I'm not going to read because I don't know like the profile name things. So I'll just read the comments. Somebody said, the story about staying for dinner is such a heartfelt moment. Thanks for sharing. You're talking about when I was talking about my dad and we used to do like house calls. Thank you. I appreciate that. Tabitha said, linking the products would save your viewers time that they wanted to buy them. I didn't really think of it that way. Thank you. Kayla went on and on and on about me doing memberships. I was like, well, should I do memberships? Because then she was like, you should do memberships. I do it. And then I was like, I don't know. We're going to back burner memberships. We'll bring it back up around the fall and think about it. We're not going to talk about that again. Okay. Mandy said, hi, Peter. I would love to watch the podcast with you and Caroline. Okay. Sandy said, a lot of you commented on this when I said audio versus visual, and I appreciate that. I would say more people said they wanted like a visual version of it, but there were a few people that did say that they would listen to the audio version. Sandy said, I personally am a visual person, so I prefer a visual podcast. I mean, it's really not that much more trouble to film it, to be honest with you. The thing is, here's the question, right? If Caroline and I do a podcast, do I start an 8th channel just for the podcast, or do I put it on one of my pre-existing channels? And I know the majority of you are going to be like, just put it on one of your pre-existing channels, but that would be Caroline and I's together, right? So it doesn't really belong on one of my other channels. It doesn't make sense on any of my other channels. I said last night when I was talking about that maybe I would do it, like put it on my drama channel to see if anybody was interested in it when we started it. And if it didn't, then we would just, you know, kill the idea and move on. But, you know, I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Okay, this is me talking about when I had social anxiety. I said, unless you have it, you can't, it's hard to explain. And somebody said, I have a hard time identifying what that feeling is exactly when it comes to social anxiety. I just know, and a lot of you guys left really helpful comments. I just want to say I really appreciate you sharing your stories with me. I just know mine's a direct trauma response on a neurological level caused by intense and prolonged bullying. And I totally understand feeling more comfortable being with someone. It's like having a buffer. I'm 41 and currently working through many of these issues in therapy, sending you strength and healing. I mean, it is such a hard feeling to explain to people unless you have it, you know? Like, here's the thing that I was trying to explain the other day, and I don't know if this made any sense. My eyebrows are starting to turn white, you guys, and, like, that's fine. I could care less if my eyebrows turn white, but it's like a hair here and a hair there. The thing is, if your hair started to turn white or gray, what you know is that, can we just talk about my hair today, like, after, it's got all this product in it. I gotta wash it all out. But can we just talk about, the difference is when you have white or gray hair, it's brittle, it's more coarse, right? So now I have like one eyebrow hair that's like sticking. I've been trying to like trim them, but it's like my eyebrows are gonna be white before long. That will be a sad day because I do like my eyebrows. People ask me a lot. They're like, "Why do you have a mustache?" And I'm like, I think it was when this was like darker, but it's more white now, so I don't think people say that as much anymore. Okay, the thing about the social anxiety is this with the bullying. Oh, Caroline just texted me something about TV show. Hold on. Watched all of Eric last night and this morning. So good. Starting Dancing for the Devil. Have you seen it? Yes, ma'am. Did a whole video on it. My TV channel. It's good. Very sad. The thing about the social anxiety thing with bullying is, when I was trying to explain it the other day, this is what I was saying. Like, I'm not currently, obviously, well, I mean, there's people out there that don't like me. I know that. But, like, it's not the bullying that I experienced when I was growing up, where I was physically going to a place and people were bullying me to my face and tripping me and knocking stuff out of my hands and writing stuff on my locker and messing with my car, you know, when I started driving in school and stuff like that, and following me home. Like, that was terrifying, the one person that did that to me. I haven't really talked a lot about that. I think I talked about it maybe in 1 or 2 vlogs. I don't really talk a lot about that. I'm still working through that in therapy, but I mean, I basically had somebody that was closeted, and I don't really know where this person is today or what their life looks like. So this is so crazy how you become protective of the person that abused you, you know? Like, it's so strange. Like, at 52, I know better, and I still in my head, right? But it's like, I mean, nobody out there even knows. Like, I mean, like, my therapist, my sponsor, Tanya, Alex, like, they know who this person is. But, like, nobody would, I mean, if somebody from my high school was watching this, they would have no clue who this person was. They would never in a million years guess. It was always somebody that was, like, on the outside. But it was somebody that was physically threatening to me because they were bigger. And, jock, very closeted, and basically was like, follow me home. And was like, you're going to do these sexual things. If not, then I'm going to, like, tell everybody all this stuff about it. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. And no, I mean, like, ran inside. And, I mean, I was scared to death. I was scared for my life. I mean, I thought he was going to beat my ass, like, to a pulp. And I think this was the other thing, right? Is that I was very fully aware that then the refusal was, like, I was keeping his secret, and at any time, like, I could be a threat to him, and that was terrifying to me. Not even just in high school, but years afterwards. And I saw him, like, there was one time I saw him, like, after we turned 21, and I was at a bar in Broad Ripple. It was like you know, everybody was home for Thanksgiving kind of thing. And I saw him, and that was like the only time. Like, I didn't talk to him or anything like that, and I, like, left immediately. That was, like, the only time. But yeah, it was scary. It was really scary. And in the show, 13 Reasons Why, there's a very similar situation to that. And that was so triggering for me. That's, like, one thing I really, like, the extent of it, I've hinted at. Like, it happened, like, it happened more. It wasn't just a one-time thing. It was scary. It was really, really scary. And it was threatening on a level of, like, indirectly, like, if you ever tell, or I will come for you. And, like, you have to remember, this was in an era where, like, the worst thing in the world was to be gay, right? So, and I don't honestly know if this person, I don't even think they're out today, right? Like, so, and I think they just assumed, because I was bullied for so long, I mean, I wasn't out, but I think they just assumed that I was out, and I don't know what they assumed, you know, but, like, it was scary. It was terrifying to me. I mean, I can see myself, like, standing in the window, like, looking to make sure that they had left. And I can remember, you know, like, the car circling the cul-de-sac. And I was like, you know, and I couldn't say to my mom anything, you know, like, I was terrified. And so, like, that carried with me for a long time, right? And it wasn't just, like, the reason why I say, like, my worst bully was because that was consistent on a daily basis at school. I was always the butt of the joke. Unless for, like, a day or two they decided to pick on somebody else. And it was always, like, him just coming for me. I was just always the root of the joke. It was always just, like, you know, like, we're gonna get him. And it was always just, like, me sitting at lunch or whatever, just, like, trying to, like, mind my own business with, like, 1 or 2 girlfriends. And, like, you know, he would come up, and it would always be, like, him. I could just see him. He was, like, real short. And, I mean, we're fine today and stuff like that, but, like, the memory is not great for me. And I can see him, like, come up, and it would be, like, him with, like, 5 or 8 guys and some girls and stuff. And he would do, like, this very exaggerated gay voice, like, lisp and stuff. And he'd be like, so I was thinking I could come over to your... This is not the guy that, like, followed me home. And he'd be like, so, I mean, that guy was very good about hiding everything. He, like, didn't want anybody to know that there was any connection between us. I mean, he was part of that group that bullied me, but he didn't want anybody to know that we had any personal connection, that he had followed me home, had any conversations with me. I mean, I think he was terrified of the secret coming out, right? Like, it's interesting because, like, I remember wondering at that time, like, if he had approached me differently, like, what would have happened? Like, if he had just come to me and said, like, I like guys, and I think you do too. But we were so scared to say that back then, right? Like, this is where I take such issue with the straight fantasy. Because it was such a dangerous time to, like, hit on anybody that, I mean, unless somebody came to you and said, I'm gay, I'm out, like you just didn't do it. Like, it was, like, you would get your ass, you could be killed. I mean, we're talking about, like, years later was Matthew Shepard, you know? Like, I mean, I don't think people understand the implications of what it was like to live during that era unless you lived during that era. It was terrifying, right? And so, you know, as a person that, like, watched all my girlfriends have boyfriends and lose their virginity and, you know, get butterflies in their stomach, I wasn't allowed to do that with anybody that I had a crush on. And so I wondered, you know, like, if he had come to me and not threatened me, you know, and been like, hey, like, I like guys too, and I think you do too, like, could we just talk? You know, I wonder, like, how would that have turned out? Because I'm sure that there are situations like that have happened. There's been entire books that have been written like that, you know? Like, the Heartstopper series is kind of like that, you know? It's like, I don't know. It makes me sad. I mean, we didn't have Heartstopper when I was growing up. We didn't have all these great, you know, representative young adult novels and TV shows. And we didn't have any of that, right? So we were afraid, all of us, of keeping our secrets, of not telling anybody anything. I mean, I didn't come out to my, like, girlfriends until after I graduated from high school. I was terrified of what they would, I thought they were all going to leave me, you know? So, I mean, it was a really, really scary time. I don't think people really understand that. To even go up to somebody that, like me, that everybody in the world thought was gay, and to say, I think you're gay too, I want to talk to you. Like, even other gay guys that, like, I went to high school with, I found out that came out later, like, they didn't even approach me for, like, a year or two, right? Like, and then when they came out, would be like, thank you for being out in high school. And I was like, I was not out in high school. I was the one that was bullied, and everybody assumed I was out. I was never out. They stole that from me. They stole that moment of me coming out because I wasn't able to do that. I think in retrospect, like, knowing what I know now, I would have come out in high school because, and I go back and forth with this. Sometimes my opinion changes about this, but I think today, on what is today, June 8th, I think I don't know that it would have changed a lot. I actually think it would have shut a lot of people up. I think nobody was coming out at that time in high school. Nobody was. And so, I mean, I don't remember one person that I went to high school with before or after me that came out. Like, I just don't remember that. I think that it would have shut a lot of people up. I mean, what are they going to say? Are you gay? Gay? You mean call me all the names? Yeah, I'm gay. I came out. Like, okay. Well, we don't like you because you're gay. Okay, well, then don't like me. I think to those people that hated me for being gay, I think it would have continued. But I think a lot of people just were antagonizing me because they knew I wasn't going to come out and say anything. I mean, coming out wasn't even really a thing you talked about in high school back then. I mean, I don't think people really get it at all. Like, when I talk about, like, gay rights, and I talk about, like, how hard it was and what we fought for and all this kind of stuff, and why I have such issue with people, you know, playing into this straight fantasy and all this kind of stuff. Like, to even, like, if I had told somebody in high school, like, I think this guy is good looking that's on the football team, let's just say if I'd even said that, right? Like, that could have got my ass kicked. If that person had found out that Peter, who's gay, thinks this football player is, like, to maintain his masculinity, he would have had to have beat my ass. Like, I don't think people really get it, right? Like, we fought that for years and years and years to come out to that, right? Like, you know, when people would be like, oh, I don't care if you're gay, just don't hit on me. And I'm like, you ain't even my type, okay? You ain't nothing that I would even want. Nothing at all. You know, girlfriends of mine for years would be like, well, I don't care that you're gay, just don't hit on my husband. And I'm like, oh, your husband over there that haven't moved off the couch. That one right there that couldn't find his dick if he was looking for it. That one, you're... I don't ever get that real in this show, but I'm like, that's kind of shit I faced, okay? In my early 20s. Ignorance is what I faced, right? Always being sexualized, always thinking that we all wear like leather straps and are having sex dungeons in our basement and peeing on each other and things like that. That's what people thought about us for years and years and years. And then every last one of us had AIDS, you know? I mean, that's what we thought. And now here we are in a generation and people want to think it's cute to get in videos and play into the stereotype. And I'm like, you don't have any respect for the people that came before you, okay? I marched my fair share of marches. I did my fair share of protests, okay? And I'm not saying that I deserve a thank you from anybody out there. I just did what I thought was necessary at the time for my people, for my community that I lived in at that time, and for myself. Call it selfish if you want, okay? But don't be disrespectful to the people that fought for you and gave you what you have today. And I'm very grateful for the people that came before me. The people that came before me, they lost their lives so that my husband and I can be married today. That's the truth right there. So, you know, I mean, it's like, I don't know. I just like, for me, it's like, I think back on all that kind of stuff. So anyway, about the social anxiety though, it's like, my social anxiety doesn't exist today because I'm worried about being bullied. But it's the years and years and years and years and years of torment, right? Like, I was talking to my therapist about it, and he was like, you know, research studies show that long-term verbal abuse has a deeper effect on people, or even short-term instances of it have a deeper, this is apparently what therapeutic research shows, have a deeper impact on people that have experienced physical abuse on minimal occasions, right? I'm not talking about long-term physical abuse. That's horrific. I don't wish any of it on anybody, right? But it's like if every day you walked into school for 12 years and every hour somebody hits you with a 2x4, right? And that's your experience. You think at 50 years old, when people are like, you need to get over this, you think at 50 years old, if you walked into a school, you would be like, is there a 2x4 or something? You know, like you walk through life thinking you're going to get hit by a 2x4. That's the reality, you know, is that it's happened to you for 12 years. I mean, we focus so much on foundation years. You know, the book that Saving Ophelia came out about all the girls and all the girls' issues that they have and eating disorders and all this kind of stuff. And the book came out about the boys. I can't remember what it was called, Raising Somebody. And it was all the boys' issues and how boys don't know how to be men and all this kind of stuff, right? And we talk about the importance of parenting and good parenting and getting your kids involved and all this kind of stuff. And we talk about foundation years. The excuse that people have used for people like James Charles for years is like, he's not emotionally developed. But for 12 years of my life, from age 6 until age 18, okay, I walked into school every single day and emotionally got hit with a 2x4 every hour, if not every half an hour, while I was in class, not protected by the adults around me. No adults around me in school were saying, don't hit Peter with a 2x4. Nobody was punishing the people that were hitting me with a 2x4 emotionally. Nobody, right? For 12 years, that happened to me. And then all of a sudden I'm supposed to just get over it magically. No, it is a huge impact on me, which is why when I saw my therapist back in the day, I was at the point where so many people in my personal life, I'm not just talking about online, I'm talking about my personal life, years people would say to me, you need to just get over this. Like, I mean, it happened so long ago, right? And then it's like, my therapist looked at me and he said, this is our old therapist, and he said, has anybody ever suggested to you that maybe you suffer from PTSD as a result of bullying? And I was like, I mean, I felt so seen in that moment. It wasn't that I wanted to be diagnosed with PTSD or that it wasn't about the diagnosis. It was that for the first time in my life, what was this, 6, 7, 8 years ago? So it was like mid-40s. For the first time in my life, at 45, 46, somebody out there, people have said to me, I'm sorry that you were bullied, it must have been horrible. Nobody ever, until that moment, and that simple sentence that he said to me, right? That was it. He got it in that moment. It was that sentence. It wasn't, I'm sorry that you were bullied, it must have been hard for you, you probably carry this in your adulthood. That one sentence of, has anybody suggested to you that maybe you suffer PTSD as a result of being bullied? In that moment, I felt so seen. It was the first person in my entire life. I talked about bullying for years. I've gone to schools and spoken about it. I've talked with administrators and I've educated people on bullying and anti-bullying issues and campaigns and how to work with bullies. I met with my bully. We've made amends to each other. We've worked through it. I know where the bully's coming from. I understand the person that's bullied. I understand all forms of it. I've worked with it for years and years and years. But that was the first moment that I felt like somebody acknowledged the severity of what I had gone through the first time, you know? That was powerful to me. That was super, super powerful to me. I felt seen. It is important in this world that we feel seen for whatever our issues are. You know? I mean, I watch TV shows and movies and listen to songs, and I feel heard. I feel like, oh my God, this person, they've never met me, I'll never meet them. There's a lot of you out there that I'll never meet, but you share stories with me, and I'm like, they get it. You know, like, people share stuff with me in DMs. I'm like, yeah, they get it. Like, we've been through the same shit. Like, you know, maybe our circumstances are different. Maybe the people were different. Maybe the stories are different. The towns were different. The feeling inside, the humiliation, the dehumanizing feeling that we go through, it's the same, right? The beating down of the human spirit. It was the first moment. I don't know today if I'm somebody that has PTSD, but I'll tell you in that moment, and I probably am, because I've worked on that a lot. But, you know, like, I don't care about the diagnosis of it, you know? I don't care about the diagnosis of OCD. I care about understanding it and working through that stuff. You know, it's like, that's what's important for me. And so, in working through it, what I've learned is that I go through life being a doormat, because for 12 years I was, because I realized this is what I've learned through bullying, right? If you speak up, it makes it 100 times worse. I think we know that, right? Like, I think that the parent that goes to this school that gives a slap on the back of the hand of the bully, like, it's going to get so much worse. What the lesson's going to be, if you come out and speak about this again, because what they really want, bullies really want attention. They really want, that's really what it's about. They really want attention. They really want to call somebody out. They really want to, like, dehumanize somebody, right? So if they don't, like, get completely punished, like, if the principal doesn't kick them out of school for good, it's going to be 10 times worse, okay? And I'm talking about in the real world today, too, like, as adults. These are the same things that happen to us. So if you speak out about it, it makes it 100 times worse, okay? I know that for a fact. In my childhood and in my adult life, I know that. If you don't say anything at all, it gets 100 times worse, because they will keep on pushing at you until you do say something. So it's like, I don't say anything, and it's worse. I do say something, and it's worse, so what the fuck do I do? So what you do is, you try to lay low, and you try to not, like, grab their attention, okay? So while you're walking through the school, afraid of being hit by this emotional 2x4, trying not to catch anybody's attention, so you're getting lost in the crowd, you have no identity whatsoever, okay? And then you're trying not to get that person's attention, because if you get their attention, then it's going to be that. If you call them out, it's going to be 100 times worse. If you don't say anything at all and they catch your attention, it's going to be 100 times worse, because they want you to respond, okay? It's literally, this is the experience of bullying. Anybody that's gone through it can tell you. It's like, why when today people, like, make these videos and they say Peter's a bully, I'm like, you've literally made 15 videos on your channel. I haven't responded to any of them, except for maybe say something in one or two things. Like, literally, like, look in a mirror, right? I know what it feels like. I've gone through it. I've lived it. But you know what? I'm not somebody in my life today that can fly under the radar. I did that for years. I did that for years in school. I lost myself. I only felt free when I was around my girlfriends in high school that, thank God, saved my life and had my back. When 3:10 and the bell rang and we were outside smoking cigarettes, club cigarettes, you know, driving around listening to music, I felt free with them. They allowed me to be myself. And even with them, I didn't feel comfortable to come out and say that I was gay, you know? I didn't even feel comfortable with them. And they were the safest people that I felt like I was the safest around, my group. I didn't feel like that. I carry all that shit with me today. Today, I'm not somebody that, I'm not gonna stop doing things I love, right? You know? I'm not gonna fly under the radar so that people stop today in my life, online or offline. I'm not gonna do it. I've given too much of my life to other people. I'm not willing to do it anymore. I'm just not, you know? I saw this, like, quote on Instagram last night. I love this quote. Where am I at on time? Oh, I got like a minute and a half before it's the hour. Okay, I saw this, well, I put it up on my Instagram story, this quote. Oh, look, a squirrel named Fern. I love her so much. Fern's like one of my favorites. Okay. This is the charcuterie board. I think I showed that last night that our friend made. And then squirrel boxes just popping up out of the fluff. Little rabbit picture. This is what you get on my Instagram. And then this was the quote. I put up a couple quotes, but there are people that will never support you because it's you. Then there are people that will always support you because it's you. You just have to find your people. And I love that quote so much. And then this one is my favorite. Goal for the rest of the year. Become more aware of what's really worth your energy. And that's kind of where I'm at today. Like, what's worth my energy? You know, like, I'm here. I'm alive. You know? I've been told by people that matter to me, okay, whose word is important to me, not to continue to torture myself. I'm here. I'm alive. I don't want to, like, throw away what I've been given so... The camera stopped. I don't want to throw away what I've been given so graciously, you know? And so, today I have to ask myself, what's worth my energy, you know? And so in applying that to social anxiety, it's like... Oh, this is what I was going to say. The social anxiety is not today. Like, when I'm afraid of, like, not afraid, but, like, when I'm, like, I guess kind of afraid of, like, going to a movie theater, right? If I'm going, like, Alex or something, like, back in the day, I could go to movies. I kind of, movies not a good example of that, but, like, a concert, let's just say. Like, I have to really work myself up, right? It's not like my fear is that I'm going to go to a concert and somebody's going to bully me. That's not my fear. It's not even, that's not even my fear of, like, going to a party or going to Ultra, or going anywhere. Like, I don't love to go to the airport and go on planes. I have the same social anxiety traveling, right? It's not like I think somebody's gonna bully me at the airport, or bully me at a Halloween party. That's not my fear. It's the feeling that I have inside of me that goes all the way back to when I was hit by that emotional 2x4 every hour on a daily basis. It's that feeling that I had of, like, wanting to sink into... Have you ever seen, like, a dog that's been abused and then, like, people rescue it and the dog still, like, cowers? Like, I feel like that inside. Like, that's how I feel. And I'm working through it and I'm getting to the other side, but that's how I feel, right? Like, you don't know what's going to happen or where it's going to come from or what they're going to say, right? That's it for me. That's the social anxiety. It's not like a direct thing. Like, I'm going to go to this party and everybody's going to call me names. Like, that's not my fear. I don't have that fear today. I wouldn't go to a party where I felt like people were going to call me names. I wouldn't hang out with people that call me names. I don't have those people in my life today. Do you know what I'm saying? If somebody was at a concert and they called me a name, I'd say, fuck you back, is what I'd say today. True story, I would. Or throw them the peace sign or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the person today that's going to be a doormat and just take it in my personal life, you know, and whatever. But, like, it's like I have to also ask myself, like, how much energy is it worth, you know? Like, what am I giving my energy to in my life today? I think it's a good question for all of us. You know, what am I giving myself, what am I giving my energy to? It's the reason why, like, last week in my drama channel, I did, like, a lot of Q&As, and I did a lot of other, like, the Go Ask Alice video, because I felt like I was making a lot of videos that I think are important. I think they're important conversations to have, but I was making a lot of videos about, like, and I have for, like, the last year, you know, of really dark subject matter, and it really, like, I think they're important conversations to have, but it's like, I mean, I don't want to read Elizabeth Kubler-Ross on death and dying every day for the next 5 years. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to talk about bringing somebody down. I don't want to make videos about these deep, dark subjects every single day. We've got to instill hope in people as well, you know? I think if, like, having been bullied in the past, like, if I hadn't started meeting people that treated me with love and kindness, I think I would have lost all hope at some point. I would have just felt really alone. I don't feel alone today. I have people that pick me, you know? What's that saying today? They call people pick-me's that, like, try too hard and whatever. But no, I don't mean that. But, like, I have people in my life that choose. I mean, that they want me in their life. Like, that's so powerful. We were talking about that last night with this other couple. Like, that was, like, the most powerful thing we had ever learned in marriage counseling. You know, when that therapist looked at me and he said, you know, talking about my codependency and talking about, because that's the other thing that's come out of the bullying, right? It's like not just social anxiety, but my codependency of my self-worth and my self-value has been so bad for years that if I didn't have a man next to me validating, like, you are good enough, you are hot enough, you are worth it, you are somebody that I want to be my man, like, I felt like I needed that for years. I mean, even until when Alex and I were together, right? And so when he said to me, if you and Alex break up, like, do you think you'll be okay? Oh, no, I would be devastated. Like, I don't even know how I would go on. You don't know how you would go on? Yeah, I don't know. Like, he goes, but eventually you'd be okay. No, I wouldn't. I can't imagine if Alex and I broke up. But eventually you'd be okay. I mean, it took a while, right? In a session, can sit there. We were going back and forth. And I just couldn't get it, right? And he was like, but eventually you would be okay. He kept on saying that over and over and over again. And I was like, yeah, eventually I would be okay. He goes, okay, so you would, right? You would get over Alex. Eventually you'd be okay. And I was like, because it was that not wanting to get over Alex. It was that not wanting to have to visit that place that would be so scary for me, that if we did get divorced and we did break up, who am I? Who is Peter without Alex? I didn't know who Peter was without Alex. I didn't know who I was when my ex and I broke up. That year, I mean, we broke up in December and Alex and I met in August. That was such a powerful year for me because I was alone. And then my mom died, you know, in May. And so from May to August, like, I was traveling alone. I was going to eat places on my own. I was working out on my own. I mean, I really got to know myself in that 6 months. That was powerful for me that year, you know? And, I mean, I learned that year, like, I'd go on a date with somebody, and I can tell you, like, in the first 5 minutes, I'd be like, what's my excuse I'm going to do to get out? Because I was like, either, like, I'm in it to win it for, like, life, or this is a waste of my time. That's how I am as a dater. I don't understand dating several people at the same time. And I'm like, either like, yeah, we're going to be together for a long time or whatever. When I started dating Alex, I didn't want to go on a date with him. I had tried to get out of the date like 3 times. My friend that lived in Denver, because I was like, what's the point? I'm going to move to Denver, so what's the point? He was like, just go. Worst case scenario, you make a new friend. So I ended up going. Here we are, 16 years later. It wasn't supposed to be this way. We weren't supposed to make it all these years, you know? And so... But when my therapist said that to me, or our therapist said that to me in an individual session, he was like, so you would be okay, like, eventually. And I was like, yeah, I guess I would be okay. Like, because I had thought back on, like, past relationships where I thought that I can't imagine myself without this person. Like, I'll never be okay. And then, and I also think, like, I had gone out to dinner with Melissa and Jason when Alex and I had gotten in a really bad fight. And Jason started crying at dinner. And this was like right before we went into therapy. And Jason was just like, I can't imagine a world where Peter and Alex aren't together. And I'll never forget he said that to me. And I was like, we're Peter and Alex. Like, we're not just Peter and Alex. We're like Peter and Alex. And I was like, and that, like, for me, like, totally fed into my codependency. Because I knew that people saw us that way. And I loved that people saw us that way. I love that people see us that way today, you know? But I also know that I need to have my own identity and my own life outside of my husband. I've been in my past relationship, we were completely enmeshed. Completely enmeshed. The relationship before that, completely enmeshed. It was not healthy at all, right? And, and I didn't know my own worth. Because that person gave me that worth. As long as we were together. The second we weren't, I was like, well, I guess I'm not worth shit anymore because somebody don't want me anymore, you know, or I didn't want them or whatever. And I got to find the next person to fill that need for me. It's like a drug, you know? And so when he said that to me and he said, so if you can be okay on your own, then what that means is you're not dependent on Alex. And I was like, okay. Well, if you're not dependent on Alex, then that means that you choose for Alex to be in your life and Alex chooses for you to be in your life. And I was like, okay. And he was like, don't you think that's more powerful that you guys choose each other to be in each other's lives than that you depend on each other to be in each other's lives? And I was like, wow. And then it went past Alex and it went to family members of mine that I choose to be in my life because it's family. I mean, just because they're blood doesn't mean we choose for them to be in our life. I'm sure a lot of you out there, I have cousins that I haven't seen in 20 years. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that have family members you don't see. We can choose to be in our family's lives or not. And then I started looking around at my life, and this was really when things started changing for me about setting boundaries, removing toxicity. I need to get rid of some people that were real negative in my life. I needed to just focus on the positive and realize what my negativity was and where my toxicity was and take responsibility for that on the relationships I wanted to fix. And what I started realizing was, where am I giving my energy? Who am I giving my energy to? You know? Am I giving my energy to things that I love, that make me happy, that fulfill my time, that I enjoy at the end of the day, that I'm proud of? Am I contributing positively to things in the world? Or am I just wasting my time? Am I giving my energy to relationships that matter? Or am I giving my energy to relationships that I can't let go of for reasons I don't even know? You know, and that was powerful for me. And that was when my group went from like, not my group, like we all hung out together, but my friend group went from like 20 to like 5, like within a year. Because I started having conversations with people, you know. I just had this conversation with Tanya like a week ago. We were talking on the phone. We were talking about different friendships, and I was like, you know, I mean, she knows all my friends. Tony knows everybody, my friends. I know all her friends, stuff like that. But we were talking about, like, I have a couple friends that I call acquaintances. You know, they're not people that I hang out with every day. But like, if I called them, you know, like we talk and hang, whatever. But like, it doesn't go deep. It's not like super deep. Like, not all my friendships are super deep. My close friendships were super deep. But I'm talking about acquaintances, right? And I said to her, and it was funny because when I said it, after I said it, I was like, oh shit, what did I just say? And then she responded, well, I'll tell you what she responded in a second, but I said to her, I said, I could never have that relationship with you. And I said, and I mean this with 100% of my heart, I could never be a once in a week phone call check-in with you. Like, we go too deep. Like, you're sister family to me. Like, I would rather not have you in my life than have you on a very superficial level where we only check in and just like, hey, how are you doing, girl? And she was silent, and I was like, oh shit, I pissed her off. And she was like, I 100% feel the same way with you. She was like, we have been so close for so many years, 25 years. She was like, I could never be a superficial friend with you. Like, if it was going to be that or nothing, I'd rather like us not be in each other's lives. I was like, 100%, I agree with that. I can't have that with Tanya. You know, I can't have that with other close friends, Mel and Nikki and, you know, Melissa. I can't have that in my life. Caroline, I couldn't have that with. Alex, definitely. I mean, he's my husband, you know. But there are people that I can have that with. It doesn't mean I don't love them, I don't care about them. It means we're not friends on that deep of a level. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, in all honesty, I've probably shared more in my vlog than I've shared with a few of my acquaintances in my life. We just don't go there. We're fun friends, you know? We'll go do something, go to a meeting, go do something, laugh or whatever. And I love them. I care about them. If they needed me, I'd be there for them. But it don't go that deep. Like, we can check in every 2 weeks and we're good, right? Like, I can't do that with Tanya. I can't do that with my other close friends in my life. Valerie, I can't do that with, you know? Like, Valerie and I have gone so deep for so long now. I mean, we just met, like, she's my newest closest, well, Nikki probably is, but other than that, like, Valerie, I mean, we've known each other 6 or 7 years now. Like, I mean, we've gone so deep. Like, I can't be that with Valerie. Yes, we text each other and check in, but, like, when we talk, you know? And so, but definitely with Tanya, it's like, I can't have that. And so I had to start asking myself, well, who are you giving your energy to? What are you giving your energy to? Are you wasting your time? You know? The things I give my time and my energy to today are things that I enjoy in my life. There are things that I do that I think that are very, very important. There are things I do in my day, service that I do, service that I give, that I never have ever talked about on this vlog or any other video and never will. I'm not somebody that believes that I need to shout from the mountaintops what I do about as far as service and things like that. I just don't. I think you just do things because you don't need to do, you know? Things you need to do. And then there are things I do to treat myself, like my TV shows and like my movies and sitting out here reading and talking to my neighbors and, you know, and then there are things I feel privileged to do, like spend time with my husband and my dog and my family and my friends. Like, that's a privilege. It's a privilege that somebody finds you worthy enough to give their energy to. Like, that is so powerful that I look at that in a completely different way now, right? So you gotta ask yourself, I think it's a really important question. What am I giving my energy to in my life today? Am I wasting it? When I look back 10 years from now, will I be happy, you know, about how I spent these years? You know, or I will look back and be like, you know, I can remember like when I first started doing drama, and it's probably been a detriment to my drama channel through the years, but that I stopped doing it. But I can remember like Alex and I would be watching a TV show and I'd be like looking through Twitter or whatever. I was constantly on social media, which is why I try not to be as much anymore. But that was the early days of drama, right? And something would happen, like Jeffree Star would put out a tweet at 9 o'clock at night. And I'd be like, babe, do you care? And he was always so sweet and supportive of it because he knew I loved it. But I'd be like, do you mind going upstairs? We can pause this movie for like an hour and I can film a video. This video needs to come out. Like, it's like now, right? I used to do live streaming a lot at night, out here, inside, whatever. You know, he'd come home from work, I'd live stream, whatever. I don't do that anymore. The only thing I do is extend my vlog into while he's resting, and then when he's done, we spend the time together. Like, I'm not willing to, any topic that comes up, I can whip out the camera the next day and the ring light. I don't even put a ring light up anymore, you know? I can whip out the camera the next day and make that video. It doesn't need to be made at 9 o'clock at night. It was so weird because a couple years ago, well, I think it might have been one of her last videos that she did, Smoky Glow, Hannah. She talked about She was at like a family gathering and something happened and she went like in a corner and it was like some drama thing that happened. It was like Dramageddon or whatever. And she could remember like going into a corner and like watching the video because she needed to know what happened. And she was like she knew in that moment, like, I need to get my priorities straight. Like that, I had that exact same experience. Like, my husband and I were, like, watching some movie or TV show or something. I can remember something happened, and I turned and looked at him, and it's just, like, he was just, like, watching the show, and I was like, no, not tonight. This can wait till tomorrow. And that was it. I never, again, after that, I mean, I make videos out here when he goes to sleep and stuff like that, but never again did I stop a TV show. That time that I spent with my husband and my dog are more important to me than any drama video that's going to come up. I really greatly appreciate you guys watching my videos, and I know that many of you like have watched me for so long and we feel like family and stuff like that, but don't ever give up something important over need to like watch what I have to say in a video. That video can wait. It ain't going nowhere. I'm not taking it down. It can go, you can watch it 2 weeks from now. Don't miss out valuable time. Put it on the background while you're getting ready or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. That changed everything for me on doing YouTube. I think as far as looking at YouTube too, like after, I love all my channels. Like I'm loving my Peter Watches TV channel right now because I love talking about TV shows. But I didn't realize I was going to go this long tonight. We're almost at an hour and 16 minutes. But anyway, the battery's been at the halfway mark forever, so it's going to start flashing red, so I need to get off here in a second. But, you know, after going through the accident and pancreatitis and everything and like all the support and the love, I've gotten a lot off of my drama channel and the other channels, obviously, Peterisms and BookTube channel and stuff as well. But I would say the main source of that is from the vlog. And it made me really realize how much I love this channel and how supportive you guys have all been to me. I mean, I find that support on all my channels. But over here, I would say it's like a big group of people that are super, super supportive of me. And I was like, I've always loved this channel, but it totally put it in perspective for me, right? Like, this is my heartstone. And I started saying that, you know, like a year and a half ago. I was like, I probably said it before that, but I was like, this is my heartstone, you know? Like, I love this. So, I think that's a good place to end, but I appreciate you saying that. A lot of people share their experiences with social anxiety, and I was like, yeah, it's like, I don't feel like going into, even in videos or going, you know, around today, like, I feel like I'm worried about being bullied, but that feeling, the response, like, I think she said trauma response, the response is similar. Yeah, I loved how she said that. That's what she said. The response is similar, right? It's not like the experience is similar, the response, the feeling is similar, so... But yeah, but thank you so much, you guys, for watching my vlog today. This has been fun. It's been really cathartic talking about this today. This has felt good. Now I'm going to go inside and see if my husband's asleep and check in on him. And is tonight the damsel night or not? I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Anyway, I love you guys so much. I hope that you are having a magically amazing Saturday. If nobody else has told you, Fernalicious is blowing in the wind right now. If nobody else has told you this today, I gotta get 2 more ferns. Oh my god, that's so funny. I just remembered I had a dream and Alex picked up this fern. We were at some grocery store and I was like, I got enough ferns. And for some reason in my dream, I had like 15 ferns on my front porch. But I need to get Fernando. And somebody recommended that I get a fern and instead of Bernice, call her Fernice. So I need to have Fernalicious, I have Farrah, Fernando, and Fernice. I think, like, she's small enough. Farrah, I might keep her through the winter. I know I said I wasn't going to, but I might. But anyway, yeah, I hope that you guys are having a great day. I love you so much. Relax this weekend. Enjoy your weekend. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you.